In high velocity business, you want your revenue generator spending 80 to 90% of their time selling. They should be spending almost all their time generating more revenue. And anything they're not doing generating revenue costs you a lot more money than you might conceptualize. An example of that could be, I'm in storm restoration. I've got a salesperson who's door knocking. We've got a signed contract. Now I've got to call Allstate and get an adjuster appointment, right? Do I want my sales rep spending 2 hours on the phone with Allstate to schedule an adjuster appointment and then missing 2 inspections and missing 1 contract and missing 1 sale and missing $15,000? Is it worth $15,000 for me to have that salesperson call Allstate? Or could I kind of just have anybody call Allstate and book the appointment if they have access to the calendar, right? So now all of a sudden, what if I'm getting like 3 more sales a week per rep? What if I have 15 reps? Like my top line is growing pretty substantially, right? So it can tend to look like things like that.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So I am, maybe a typical listener of this show, okay? $3 million, $5 million a year roofing company. I'm like, great, Adam, that sounds like a dream. I've got some killers out there. I want them to sell 80 to 90% of the time. How do I close that gap? How do I get from where I am now to like that dream scenario? And here's where a lot of our clients and a lot of our like mastermind members will, actually one of them just posted in our group yesterday. It's like, hey, I need to hire a VA. Anyone have any suggestions on how to do that? So like, there's this huge gap between like where you are now and that dream scenario. And for like the average company, it's like, all right, well, what do I do? Do I go on Upwork and go hire people? Do I like post in my local Facebook group? Do I, I don't know, like I don't have processes to be able to hire that person, to train that person, to hold them accountable, to work with that person. So you guys kind of handle all that, huh?
Yeah, you're leading into my value proposition, Joe, which are two big things, right? What makes us very different. One, as a business, we're focused on home services. So as a part of our normalization program, you are not teaching our team about your industry. You're not teaching our team about what it is in roofing. You're not teaching them about how this business tends to work. We've done that for 90 days as we've onboarded them. So they know roofing, they know construction, they know general contracting, they know terms and concepts. They might even have experience using some of the tools.
Yep.
So instead of spending 2 months trying to find time to teach your business and your industry to a virtual assistant, they're coming primed, ready to go, ready to take off. The other big thing that we do that's very different is just the way that we take our reps. First, our reps are all client dedicated and focused. So one thing I'd encourage you to think about, and whether or not you use SMA or another firm, this is an employee of yours that's just, working remote, right? And so like any remote employee, I would want to make sure that they're not working for 4 or 5 other contractors at once, right? Which can be the case in a lot of these big VA shops and places you find on Google. They work concurrent contracts because they're more valuable back to that company if they're working for 4 or 5 people at once. We never do that. We don't believe in it. We protect the data privacy of our contractors and our contractor partners with the utmost security. The other big thing we do that's a little bit different, we use psychometric testing. So with all the folks that work for us, we test their innate behavioral drives, and then we do some job analysis based on what you want our teams to do. And then I'm aligning people to work that feels fulfilling, exciting, and engaging for them. And that's something in general that I would suggest as a practice for anybody, right? You'll be amazed at when we have work that's exciting for us, like, hey, you'll never work a day in your life if you love what you do. Bullshit. It's a bullshit phrase. But if you love what you do, you will seek that work out even if you're tired. So even if, you're run down at 7:30 p.m., right? Because it's exciting and it draws you. I'm going to call my sales manager right now and talk to him about a couple of things. I'm going to bounce a couple ideas off the CEO. I'm going to look into this one thing that I've been chewing on for a while because this work is exciting and it fuels me. Even though it's work and even though I might get tired and even though I might have bad days, right? It fuels me and it drives me. And that's true of all the folks that we put in our roles. So like as an example, attrition across the BPO industry is about 63%. Ours is 4%. The last person we lost in September, and we lost him because he became the chief technology officer for our client and immigrated to the United States. So it's about, creating competitive cultures that really push our teams to drive forward, but enable our clients to be ultra successful.
Dude, that's awesome. I love that. BPO, Adam's mentioned a few times for the audience, business process outsourcing, right? Am I correct on that?
That's exactly right.
Okay. All right. So you have all these processes and you can just put them in a big pile and just give them over to Adam and his team and they'll take care of them. But that's huge because I've had experience hiring 2 people last year. As the owner of the company, I hired 2 people and they're no longer with us. And part of the reason is because we did not have the systems to help them be successful in those roles. because for both those positions, it was the first time we ever hired for those positions. So just like, come on board and just kind of shadow me. We'll figure it out. And, we just did not set that up for winning. This year, we're hiring for those positions again, and we are super dialed in on that. So that is a big thing. A lot of companies don't realize, like, if you're going to hire someone, you need to have a system to make them successful and take ownership over that. And there's a lack of ownership in this industry and across all industries, I think. So this kind of helps to solve that problem.